This is my 2003 BMW E46 3 Series. I think this car offers exceptional value for money. It's a four-door sports saloon with a very practical big boot, and I don't think the value for money can be beat at this price range. I'd be very interested to hear any suggestions for other cars that look like this one does for its age and offers the sort of comfort, the smoothness, and just all the features and the power, and the practicality, and just sort of the list goes on for this money. I paid £4,100 for this car, and it develops 235 brake horsepower. It will do 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds, which is not blisteringly fast or anything like that, especially when compared to modern cars, but for like an average Joe who's not going to be racing and things like that, and practically speaking, it's plenty fast enough. And yeah, it sounds amazing too. I'll put a little clip in now so you can see that. Hasn't got a lot of spec from factory. It's got sort of the normal headlights and stuff like that, but it's not uncommon to find these cars with really nice xenon lights and factory navigation and electric heated seats, electrically adjusted seats, auto folding mirrors, and the list goes on. Really, you can get a lot of spec from factory. I guess straight off the bat, I've probably got to try and justify the claim that this is an absolute steal. And yeah, there's a couple of reasons for that, really. Like I said, it develops a lot of power. It's a practical car. It looks great. It's got a lot of features. It's also got a super reliable engine. I mean, this car's only got 69,000 miles on the clock. Nice. But it's not unheard of to see these cars going for hundreds of thousands of miles. There's plenty of examples on the internet of that. The other thing is, like, being such an old car, it's a lot less complicated than modern cars, which means it can be worked on really easily, even by complete novice sort of DIYers like me, with even a basic toolkit. I mean, within 2 weeks of owning it, I'd done a couple of bits and pieces on it, which I never would have imagined myself doing, but they were just so easy with all the resources and stuff on the internet from YouTube videos and forum posts and things like that. And then there's the money, £4,000. I think in that price range, I may be looking at like a used Vauxhall Corsa. I don't, no offense to Vauxhall Corsa users or anything like that, but I mean, I don't think you're going to get the kind of power you're going to have from this, or the sort of the direct feel of the steering, sort of the driving experience you'd get from driving this car, or the sort of comfort. And I've had people in this car who are just surprised at how old it is, just because of how well it feels to be inside of it. I guess another option is you could lease a car. I could maybe lease a car for a year for that money. But at the end of the year, I'd be sort of $4,000 worse off. That's if I could do that. Be $4,000 worse off plus whatever deposit I sort of put on top. Whereas with this, I bought it at the bottom of the depreciation curve, so at best, it will just stay flat, and I'll just make my money back if I ever want to sell it. But the good thing about these cars is they're becoming more and more popular as each day goes by. I mean, it's already considered the future classic. Some people already consider it a classic, actually. I mean, the M3 version of this car, the prices for that have just absolutely skyrocketed, and it's getting rarer and rarer to try and find saloon versions of these cars. They came in convertibles and coupes as well, but the thing I really like about this car is the M3 came with a 3.2 litre straight six engine, similar to this one. This one's got a 3 litre straight six engine, but the M3 develops about 100 and something more brake horsepower than this. But the thing about the M3 is it only came in coupes. there was no four-door version of it. So if you like the E46 generation, which a lot of people do, and you want some power and you want some fun, but you want some practicality, this is the highest spec you can get. This is the most powerful four-door saloon you can get in this era. The next most powerful car you can buy is an M3, and prices for those are just insane. They're like £15,000-20,000 just for a similarly aged car. And you know, in the inside, in the interior, you wouldn't even know you're in a different car. This is the M Sport, so it comes with the sort of M Sport front bumpers, the 18-inch MV2 alloys, sports skirts, color coding. This what they call shadow line trim, and sort of it's basically just a gloss black trim, like on the wing mirrors and things like that. Sports bumpers, twin exhaust, lip spoiler at the back, and a present from a bird I've got to clean up. Oh, it's really cold today. So yeah, we're in the interior of the car now. It comes with black leather seats, as black sort of headlining, a standard M Sport steering wheel. It's a bit thicker, and it's got these thumb grips, which I really like, and they're really comfortable. But the interior is just a super nice place to be. I don't know if it comes out on camera or not, but yeah, you get this like carbon cube trim, and I'll explain the whole in the dashboard in a minute. You get lots of mod cons, air conditioning, steering wheel controls, cruise control. I think depending on the spec, you can get other things like sort of telephone and stuff with that button, I think. But yeah, it's a really nice place to be, and I got my car with an automatic gearbox. I wasn't initially looking for one, but for reasons I can explain in another video, it turns out that, you know, I'm more than happy with it. It's a great gearbox. It's always in the right gear. I can flick it into sport mode by just sort of pulling it down and shoving it to the left, which means you can still use the Triptronic mode and change gears manually, and that is awesome fun without any of the downsides of like having a clutch, practically speaking, driving around town and things like that. Yeah, this is because I was upgrading the unit. I'm filming another video at the moment where I'm replacing the tape player that came with this car, which kind of gives away the age a bit, with a sort of aftermarket unit which looks sort of factory. That's the great thing about this car. It's got a big cult following, so it's got a lot of options like that. The unit I've bought is like an octa-core 4GB touchscreen 9-inch sort of model. It's got sort of Android Auto and CarPlay built into it, and support for accessories like a reversing camera, which is just amazing. Amazing addition to a car like this. It's just going to make it feel so much more modern. And you know, the steering wheel controls will work sort of just as factory and things like that. That's going to be great. So that's coming up. But I had an issue with a part from the manufacturer, so they're having to send me one over, which is basically just a cable, an adapter, just so I can plug it in. But until that comes, I can't film it, so I've just sort of hastily popped the trim back on just for this video. I'll just show you the back real quick. But super comfortable back here. I think hopefully I've done a good job already justifying why I think this car is a steal. It just offers so much value for money. I can't think of any car that beats it. But if you have any ideas, let me know, because I'm really keen on knowing, because the car doesn't look 17 years old, not to me anyway. I mean, I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder and all that, so some people might think straight away it does look old, but to me it doesn't. And you can't tell because it's really dirty and it's a really cloudy day, but the paint is in really good condition for the age. I mean, usually it looks super thick and shiny. I mean, usually in cars of this age, the paint would have matted away by now. But this car just looks absolutely crisp, and you know, it's as straight as an arrow. No real issues with the bodywork and things like that. It's been looked after. Now, obviously, there are some caveats with what I've been saying. This car's not going to be for everybody. I've been struggling to think about who the target audience for this is, really. I mean, for enthusiasts or aspiring DIY enthusiasts, I think this car's a no-brainer for the money, because being so old and with the documentation and things like that I mentioned, you can learn to work on it yourself. I mean, it's very novice-friendly. For everyone else, I think a lot of people just want an easy life. And I think if that's you can still do well in this car and, you know, make it a sensible decision and have a lot of fun in it. But you just have to take a bit more precautions, maybe sort of allocate more budget to make sure you can get a really clean example with lots of service history, and that's had sort of the important checks done on these cars, because they do have more sort of bigger issues that can crop up, like the subframes cracking underneath, or the arches rusting and things like that. But once you know what to look for, you can just look out for them on the models you go and see. And yeah, you'd probably also want to budget a bit of money for doing any odd jobs that crop up, sort of just like the ones that I've had to do, but you might have to go get them done in a garage or something like that. But even with that, I think the argument would still hold, because I think you wouldn't be spending that much money overall on a very good car. Yeah, and one you can hopefully keep forever. I mean, that's my intention. I've always had a soft spot for these cars. And I think that the practicalities of it, you know, the 4 doors and the boot and just everything really, just means I should be able to do that. And the fact that I can work on it myself just will mean I won't end up spending a fortune on it, hopefully, in maintenance. I guess that does bring me to my next point though, like maintenance and work that needs to be done. So I mean, with these cars, again, there are multiple lists compiled all over the internet of the common issues and the common preventative maintenance you should do that's recommended, like the expansion tank and the Vanos and things like that. I haven't done any of that yet. I will work my way through it, but I'm kind of taking my time, working through some of the minor issues the car did come with. Common problem on these cars is this rain gutter trim can come loose, and that's what happened on this back door here. I did try and fix it the proper way, because it's an easy fix and a common fix, but I think it needs a round 2 so I can do it properly and make it a good long-term permanent fix. I mean, you can see it's, you know, it should be like this side really, nice and solid. I had a dodgy fuel cap, it was broken, so I just bought a used part off of eBay and bought a brand new seal off of eBay. It was a few pounds, and that solved that problem. The battery was a bit dodgy, but after hooking it up to a trickle charger, that fixed that, and it's been fine ever since. This mirror looks to have been replaced with one from an SE. I'm not sure why, but I picked up a replacement part, a used part from eBay in good condition for like £15. I just got to fit it. The mirror glass on this side was also starting to corrode, but again I found a used perfectly good part for like £7, and I've already fitted that on that one. This is the shadow line one. It's a bit shinier than the other side. There are some issues on the inside. The air conditioning fans sometimes have a mind of their own, but it's a common issue. But it's an easy fix with lots of instructions online. It's not strictly a problem, but I added these genuine BMW cup holders. They were £50 from a BMW dealer on eBay, brand new. The main problem I had with this car, which scared me a bit, was I got an engine light that came on when I was driving home from buying it, which was a bit rubbish. This is the engine, obviously, and the engine light was for a vacuum leak, which basically just means that somewhere in the engine, one of the hoses or one of the rubber hoses or something, they tend to sort of crack and perish over time and let air in. But again, it's just so well documented online, you know. And the first thing to check on the list is these upper and lower air intake boots. They tend to be the first things to go, like they just sort of crack at the seams and things like that. So I purchased 2 new ones for £25 each, direct from BMW, genuine, and I changed them myself. And I've never done anything on a car before, just because, you know, just simple tools and good instructions online. You just had to remove these air boxes, and both of them were really badly cracked, and that got rid of the engine code. There are a couple more codes, but they're not causing an engine light. One is for the thermostat, which just means the car takes a bit longer to warm up. A very common problem. Parts are easily available, and there's lots of DIYs online on how to do that. I just haven't got around to it yet because it's not really causing a major issue. The other one is a faulty O2 sensor. This car's got 4, 2 before the catalytic converters and 2 after them, and one of the post-cat ones is gone a bit faulty. But again, lots of documentation online. There's videos and everything that just show you how to do it. I just haven't got around to it yet because it's, again, not causing major issues or anything like that. This is the OBD2 reader that I used. I bought it from Amazon to sort of scan the codes. It's really great. It comes highly recommended on the BMW forums and just works with kind of a bunch of different Android apps, Bluetooth apps. One is Talk, I think, and one is OBD Fusion. I'll put links to all this in the description below. I guess that pretty much sums it up. I don't know if this car will go up in value in the future. It might do. I mean, I'm struggling to find them at the moment. I look every now and again, and you know, I've seen some listed for £8,000. Obviously, that doesn't mean they're going to sell for that much, because you can list them for whatever you want, but they are getting rarer, and there's a lot of car like to them for the money. So I think it's not unreasonable to think that they might go up in value. But even if they don't, even if they just hold their value, which is pretty much a given considering they're at the bottom of the depreciation curve, I don't think the value can be beat. Now, yeah, as I said, this car is not going to be for everybody. It does require a little bit more effort, but if you're into cars and you're into this car, then it's not going to bother you really. Do let me know if you can think of any other cars that offer as good value as money as this one does. Hopefully I've convinced you that this car really is a steal for the money. It might not be for you, but if you're thinking about buying a car, it might just be worth considering this one anyway and having a look and seeing if you can pick one up. It might still be a better overall buy than what you were going to go for previously, so hopefully this helps.